He slammed the door so hard the glass quivered. "Fire her or I'll make you regret it." The demand came thin and brittle, privilege pitched as a threat. 19, loud, wearing his father's name like armor. I didn't look up from the report. The silence after his outburst felt heavier than his words. I could feel him burning a hole with his stare. "Are you ignoring me?" he barked. I clicked my pen closed. "I'm thinking," I said, "something you might try sometime." His face flamed. He left with a threat and a cloud of expensive cologne. 2 hours later my boss, his father, summoned me. On the phone his voice had been flat, distant, like someone rehearsing bad news. I already knew the shape of it. In his office he wouldn't meet my eyes. "Claire, I'm afraid I have to," he started, then faltered. I leaned forward, steady. "Check your inbox first." He froze. Color leaked from his face. That's where it ended. Or began. "It depends on which side you stand." I met Daniel 3 years earlier. He greeted me with the kind of smile that opens doors and writes checks. "We're building something big," he said. "I need someone like you to run it." Fresh off a failed startup, desperate to prove I could stay standing, I believed him. Daniel had the soft, practiced charm of powerful men, warm until crossed, generous until questioned. He called me indispensable. Evan, his son, was background clutter at first, a spoiled kid with too much money and nothing to do. He'd drift into the office in ripped jeans, flirt with interns, toss an insult, miss Excel like it was a joke. I ignored him. Boys like that burn out. I was wrong. Daniel installed him as Vice President of Operations last year, a decorated title that became my cross to bear. Power in the wrong hands can carve through anything, even an empire. The damage started small. A lost contract here, a budget anomaly there. Approvals logged under my name, signatures I didn't recall. Tiny fractures that, when gathered, spelled sabotage. Then came the supplier messages, shady deals, padded invoices, kickbacks routed through my department. The final blow was my account authorization at 2:14 a.m. for a $500,000 transfer. I pulled footage. Evan slipping into my office, fingers on my keyboard, grinning like the world owed him everything. The next morning Daniel called me into his office. His tone was careful, the kind people use when they've already picked a scapegoat. I smiled and promised to investigate. Inside, I was already making a record. I documented everything, emails, transactions, access logs. I taped a flash drive beneath my desk drawer where no one would think to look. I let them believe I was cowed. I let them think I would fold. When he called me sweetheart in meetings, I kept my expression pleasant. When he brushed me in the break room, I did not flinch. Power is a lesson in patience, so was I. He grew careless, sending invoices directly to his father while CCing me, flaunting the wins. He wanted the show. He didn't know I'd already redirected every trail to a private legal team, that the compliance board had been quietly tracing transactions under Daniel's name, not mine, or that the intern he bragged about had been wired. When the Audi report arrived, I didn't forward it to HR. I sent it to the board. And then I waited. By the time Evan barreled into my office, the board had the full file, messages, clips, transaction histories, every late-night login, every illicit payment. When Daniel called me into his office, his inbox already held the email, time-stamped 10 minutes earlier, subject, urgent ethics violation report, Evan Daniels. I watched the color ebb from his face, his hands trembled. He looked at me like someone flailing for a lifeline. "Claire, what have you done?" he asked, voice breaking. I smiled and replied, "I cleaned your house." "You're welcome." Security walked Evan out that afternoon. A week later the board forced Daniel to step down. Scandal is lethal to investors. The Daniels empire began to free fall. 2 days later the new CEO offered me Daniel's position. I declined. It wasn't about title or money. It was about the quiet that arrives after the storm. They expected theater, pleas, bargaining, tears. Instead I had patience, records, and the slow certainty of truth. I didn't shout, I assembled. I let them think I was soft until their arrogance tripped on its own teeth. Sometimes I pass the building now. The windows are dark, The logo gone, just glass and echoes where there was once noise. People call it revenge. I call it correction. They mistook my kindness for weakness, my loyalty for blind faith. They believed erasure was easy. I don't rage. I calculate. I wait. And when I act, I make it permanent. So when Daniel whispered in that office, "Claire, please, we can fix this," I almost smiled because he still didn't get it. You can't fix what wasn't broken. You can only finally see what was always there. Me. The rule I learned is simple: never raise your voice. Raise the evidence. Then watch them check their inbox.